deal. Notice I use the word fair and not good. Hello and welcome to another episode of Double J's List. Please, it could help me so much if you would just hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Today I'm going to talk about purchasing a car in 2022. If you're watching this, you are probably aware of the fact that the car market is a lot different than it was pre-COVID. And I have now purchased 2 cars during COVID times. And I think I have figured out how to get a fair deal. Notice I use the word fair and not good, because what a good deal is now is just fair. And unfortunately, 2022 has been a really bad time to buy a car, as was 2021. With COVID happening, we had a lot of supply chain issues. We had issues getting microchips. And then shipping issues, it just was really, really challenging. So that turned our normal notion of how to buy a car kind of on its head. Normally, the old school way of thinking was if you wanted to save money purchasing a car, it was always a really good idea to take a good hard look at buying a used car. Like, let's say a 2-year-old vehicle with 30, 40,000 miles would be a significant savings over a brand new car. The supply chain issues in the world that we live in right now has turned that on its head. So what has happened is it's very hard to buy a new car right now. Because they just aren't on the lots. If you drive by a car dealership, you'll notice the lots probably have, just on average, about 25% of what they used to have on those lots. I'm talking like new car lots, used car lots, that sort of stuff. So, therefore, if you're in a situation where you need a car right now, let's say you're in a car accident, your car is totaled, or your car needs a bunch of repairs and you can't justify putting that money into the car. It's mechanically totaled. So in a situation where you say, you know what, to heck with it, I'm going to go buy a new car instead, there is no new car on that lot right now, more than likely, to replace it. So therefore, you're in a position where, oh gosh, I need a car right now. You're buying used, and you're going to be paying a lot more than what you would have been paying a few years ago for a used car. Now, with that being said, new cars, depending on the market that you're in, can actually be a better deal. Now, like I said, there are many new cars sitting on lots right now. And if they are on a new car lot, they're going to be only there for a couple days and it's going to be sold. So what has happened is the used car prices have gone up because that's what's available and people need them at the time. There's other car dealerships around the country that have taken advantage of that and have therefore added what's called added dealer markup, ADM, to new cars. So you'll see advertisements if you go onto like the different car search engines like Auto Trader, Cars.com, Car Gurus. You can take a look at prices, and a lot of car dealerships will put it out there. This is the price of a new car. There's a very famous one going around the internet, a dealership in California for it was like a $40,000 or $50,000 RAV4 Prime. It's a very popular car. They marked it up to $90,000. So that's not typical. That's kind of an extreme case. But a lot of other dealerships are marking them up. What I have found is that it's a very regional issue. So when you get a big market like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, the big metropolitan areas where there are a lot of people and a good amount of affluence, those dealerships seem to be hitting harder than the dealerships in smaller markets with the added dealer markup. Now, I've spoken to 2 people I know that work in the car business in 2 totally different dealership groups here in the Buffalo area. And we're a smaller market. Buffalo's not a huge city compared to like New York City or Los Angeles. So we're kind of a tight-knit community. So what has happened is that people talk here. So everyone, what happens if a car dealership charges you more, someone's going to feel ripped off by that here, and they're going to tell everybody that they know, which will cause everyone to say, you know what, I'm going to go to this other car dealership group to buy a car from there. Whereas in Los Angeles, there's millions and millions of people, and if they don't sell a car to this person, they'll sell a car to another person. It's not a big deal. Here, that's not the case. So when I was speaking to my car dealership friends, they said, locally, we'll sell a car to somebody here for during this new market that we're in. We won't add anything to it. We'll just charge, sticker price for a new vehicle. Now, the problem is you're going to have to typically wait for that car. So car dealerships know typically what's coming in. They'll have a list of cars. These are coming in. We don't know exactly when. But if you want a car, you're going to have to, be in contact with different dealerships. My advice would be to shop around different dealerships and find one that their policy is to sell for MSRP. I've seen some even in some of these large markets on some of these groups for different cars that I'm on and different social media. That's like one of their selling points. We'll sell you a car for sticker. It seems like a crazy idea. 2 years ago we were trying to get cars for invoice or $100 over or something like that. Those days are gone. You're going to be paying at least sticker price for a car. And what you're going to have to do is try to figure out what kind of car that you want. That's its own challenge. There's not even that much stuff to go out and test drive anymore because this market's so wacky. But let's say you find the car that you like. Start contacting dealerships that sell that, and find out what they're getting in. If they have things that work for what you may not get the color that you want. You may not get all the options that you want, or you might get more options than you actually want. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, more than likely, because it's going to be, this is what we're getting. Do you want it or not? Because someone else will come along and take it if you don't. So once you find that dealership that'll sell it to you for sticker, that's where you're going to have to pick out a car. And one of the keys to this is that you need good transportation until that happens. So you don't want to go shopping for a car when you absolutely have to get a car, because then you're going to wind up buying used and probably paying too much. So you're in good shape if you go ahead and start shopping before your car is catastrophically wrong. I mean, obviously, if a car gets totaled in an accident, you don't have control over that. It's not a good situation to be in general. It's even worse now. So after you do your research, that's how you can typically find a car for sticker. When you're in these big metropolitan areas, you're going to just go a little bit outside of your area, maybe even a lot. I was seeing people. I was on a RAV4 Prime group where they were talking about that $90,000 RAV4. And ironically, they were saying cars here in Buffalo, there are dealerships in Buffalo these people were buying their cars from and having them shipped. Sight unseen, a little bit of risk there, because then it becomes, did the shipping company damage it, or was it damaged already at the dealership? If that sort of thing happens, no actual physical encounter with the dealership. And at least from what the dealerships the people I know in dealerships around here, they tell me when someone from out of state does want a car, they will typically actually mark up, but they'll mark up significantly less than what the market is that the people are buying the car from. So let's say it's typically a $10,000 markup in Los Angeles for a certain car. They'll mark it up $2,000. They'll make a little more off it because of the hassle of setting up a sale that's out of state, and they can. It's giving them a better deal. They're getting a little more money out of the deal. It's good, but typically they don't even have the cars to do that dealing with, because there's people here in Western New York that want to buy that car. So it doesn't even happen that often, but when it does, it works out for both parties. Now, one last thing to think about. If you are leasing a car, you're in a uniquely good position. Because that vehicle that you're driving right now that you're leasing is probably worth more than what the buyout currently is for that vehicle. So what people don't understand is they think they have to wait to the end of their lease and then they can buy it out. That's not true. You can buy out a lease just about at any point during the entire period that you're leasing the vehicle. It's typically like what your buyout is plus the number of payments that you still owe on the vehicle. Getting towards the end of the lease, it's not that huge of a difference. So with this market and the way things are, getting a car, it's advised to start shopping for your new car, 3-6 months before the end of your lease, and then figure out what you want to do. Because that vehicle, when they buy it out at the end of that lease, when you decide to take it to these dealerships because they need stock, they're buying these leases out. They're not just handing them back to the manufacturer. A lot of the companies have now put stipulations in the lease agreements where, let's say, if the manufacturer themselves, if it's a franchise dealership of that manufacturer, only they are the ones that can buy the leases out. Whereas if you go to a dealership that doesn't have that franchise, well, then they're not going to be able to purchase it outright. So you look into that. But like, let's say you're looking at a car, your lease might be worth $5,000 more than that buyout. You need to go into the dealership with that in your mind so that way you're not ripped off, because the dealership will probably be like, yeah, we'll pay off your lease, you're great, and then list the car for $10,000 more. That's not fair to you. But I'm sure some dealerships would take advantage of that. Not all, obviously, but something to be aware of. But in this case, you can wind up saving money on your next lease. The lease deals aren't as good. There's not as many incentives because car manufacturers don't have to incentivize cars to sell them right now. You want it or not, it's there. So bear that in mind too. Your lease payment may go up on the same exact vehicle just because the incentives aren't there anymore. But you have equity in your lease right now that can hopefully overtake that and actually still give you a better deal than what you had before. So look into that. And with that being said, I don't think there's not really anything else to tell you to get a good deal. I mean, it's not a great time to buy cars. It's a necessary evil. But shop around. Don't be shy. Call dealerships. Put yourself out there. Find a dealership that wants to work with you. Don't pay more than MSRP unless you're comfortable with that, which I personally am not. So look into that, and you can get a fair deal. But anyway, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.